Yeah, so the next step was to heat treat that hammerhead, the white cast iron hammerhead. For that, I took a ceramic crucible, a heat-resistant ceramic crucible, and filled that with a thin layer of sand at the bottom. Then I put my hammerhead inside together with the nails, and then filled the remainder of that crucible up to the top with some more sand so that everything was covered neatly with the sand. And then I put it all in my furnace for the heat treatment. Yeah, it's now about 6 hours later after after I put that iron inside that furnace. So we're gonna check on that now. I'm gonna extract the nails since they are really thin, small diameter, so they're gonna be decarburized fast. And then I will put that hammerhead back in the crucible and give it some more hours to decarburize and become malleable cast iron, maybe until tomorrow, so 12 hours approximately in total. Yeah, that's the plan, so let's check. Yes, I forgot to mention that this first heat treatment, the 6 hours, was at 900 centigrades. So 6 hours at 900 centigrades in order to decarburize the surface of the white cast iron. After I extracted the nails, I did a quick check with a hammer, so I applied a few punches with a hammer. If the nails would be still pure white cast iron, they would now instantly break apart. But since they don't, that shows that the surface got converted into steel, giving the nails enough toughness to be of usable quality. Another check is, of course, the spark test, and you can see by the white sparks that the surface got totally converted into a form of soft wrought iron, which confirms that the conversion of white cast iron into steel was successful. Okay, here's our nail. Cast iron nail. So let's test. Yeah, that is how you convert white cast iron into iron or steel. So as I said, we did a heat treatment, 6 hours at 900 centigrades in sand, and that decarburized the iron on the surface and converted it into malleable cast iron. So that is no longer that brittle than white cast iron, but something in between, iron or steel and cast iron. So it is still brittle. So if I would try to bend it, it might, or very likely will, break at some point. But it got tough enough to become a usable nail. So that was something also the ancient Chinese did. So they mass-produced nails from cast iron, and then they submitted them to a heat treatment, the metal pieces to a heat treatment, and that essentially got them a usable piece of iron. Like a nail. Yeah, since you asked, so let's do the test, the ultimate test. So it is likely gonna break, yeah. So as I said, it will not become pure iron after just a 6 hours treatment. In that case, you would have to submit it to a heat treatment for much longer time, but yeah, so it breaks. And yeah, that's a piece from that untreated white cast iron. So just to show you again how brittle that is. So it's almost like glass. And here we have the head of our heat treated white cast iron nail. So it is much tougher now and does not snap that easily. Until it fails, of course, yeah, but you see it has a upper layer of steel. The top layer is steel, and that gives it some strength there, so it does not immediately break. And if you would keep that nail maybe for some hours more at that set temperature, 900 centigrades, then the diffusion of or the burn rate is, it just depends on the time and the thickness of the material. So it's about 1 millimeter per 25 hours at 900 somewhat centigrades, yeah, 920 or so. It's about 1 millimeter per day. So we did 6 hours on that, so that's about 1/4 of a millimeter. So, and that is essentially the thickness that got converted to steel or a wrought iron, or at least a low carbon iron, no longer resembling or no longer having this brittleness of our white cast iron. Yes, after this proof of principle, the next thing to do is to check on our hammerhead, which I submitted to that heat treatment some hours more. Yes, so the heat treatment is over of our white cast iron hammerhead. So I had it in the furnace here for about 12 hours at 900 centigrades. And after that, I reduced the temperature for another 12 hours to 750 centigrades to anneal the casting further. And yeah, so then I let it cool down for additional 3 hours or so. So it should be now cool enough to extract it from that furnace. And yeah, let's see what we got. If you leave the iron too long in your in the sand, and if you go too excessive with the temperature, then you get this really thick layer of oxidation on your iron. So this is something you don't really want to get. So I recommend staying the temperature below that 900, or in the range of the 900 centigrades region. Anything above that is really eating on the iron excessively. And also make sure that you keep a good amount of sand, that you keep your iron in a good layer of sand. packed in a good layer of sand that also prevents excessive oxidation. Yeah, so this is our result. Our white cast iron hammerhead, or let's say it's no longer cast iron, it's malleable cast iron, heat treated and ready for use.